Hey guys, today I'm going to give you guys another music history lesson. This time I'm going to be talking about Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. So, Elvis was born in Mississippi and he kind of grew up there until he was 13 when his family moved to Nashville, Tennessee. That's kind of where he started to get his starts in music because Nashville is very big for the country community in terms of music. He got pretty popular. He was doing some gigs here and there. And then Carl Perkins, who's another artist, was supposed to be shown on a TV show. And he couldn't do it because he actually got into a minor car accident. And so they called Elvis really quickly, and he went up and he sang Carl Perkins' song Blue Suede Shoes, and he became an instant success and like an overnight success story in terms of the younger population. But in terms of the older population, they thought that his dance moves, where he was moving his hips a lot and kind of moving his legs, and they called it jimmying around on stage, it didn't sit too well with the older people because they kind of just liked the people who stood in front of the microphone and sang. And so for a while, when he was first getting his start on television shows, they would only show him from the waist up because they didn't want to see him moving his legs around because it was considered scandalous dancing at the time. So he obviously became a huge success in the music industry. I mean, he's considered the king of rock and roll. But rock and roll isn't the only genre of music that he did. He was in, obviously, rock and roll. He's the king of rock and roll, as I will say many times in this video. Rockabilly, which is like a mix of country music and rock and roll, so it's kind of like electric country, kind of like that. And then he actually did some pop music, which is not as the same as pop music was today with all the electronics, but back in the day, pop was kind of like a lighter version of rock and roll. So he actually won so many awards, and he holds so many records in the music field. But before I get to that, he also was in 33 movies during his singing career. He actually was in 33 movies. Not on any of them were very popular, but he was still in 33 movies while releasing so many albums and songs, and he was just one of the most efficient both actors and music makers of all time. So now I want to talk a little bit about some of his awards that he received. So he's the best-selling solo artist ever. He sold more songs than anybody else ever in the world. And they estimate that he has between 600 million and 1 billion in sales. So he's made a lot of money off of record sales and stuff like that. He also has the most songs ever in the Billboard Top 40. He has 115 songs that made the top 40. That's a lot of songs that are that good to be up to the top 40. He also has 18 number one Billboard songs, which is second only behind the Beatles, who's another like internationally successful band and considered one of the best bands of all time. He has the most albums in the top 200 for Billboard. He has 129 albums that made the top 200 in the world. So, to put some perspective on how many that is, Frank Sinatra was second on that list, and he only had 82 albums that ever made the top. So he almost doubled how many records second place had. And you'll see that again later. He also has the most time spent with a song at number one at 67 weeks. So one of his songs spent almost over a whole year, well over a whole year, at number one on the charts, which is incredible. He also has the most gold albums with 101. So like they kind of rank your albums, like you can get a gold, platinum, double platinum, and diamond, depending on how much you sell. He has 101 gold albums, which is the most all time. Second place, he doubles, is Barbra Streisand with 51. So he almost doubles. He's off of doubling by one album, off of gold albums. He has the most platinum albums too with 57. So he has sold a lot of music. As I said before, he's the best-selling solo artist ever. He has some of the best songs, in my opinion. But he also, this one's kind of cool, he has a species of spider named after him in 2012. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this, but I'm going to try my best. It's Paradoria Presley. I don't know, there's an I at the end. It's kind of weird. And so some of his popular songs that I really like and are the most streamed on Spotify are Can't Help Falling in Love, Jailhouse Rock, Suspicious Minds, Burning Love, and Hound Dog. Now, I kind of have a fun story about Hound Dog, is that he once, like, after he premiered on TV, they put him, like, obviously his dance moves, they were like, hey, you can't do that, you need to stop. So they had him stand, and they put an actual hound dog next to him so that he would stand still, and they had him sing to that hound dog. They sang the song Hound Dog to a hound dog, and it's one of my favorite videos ever because he still keeps dancing around and moving his hips, and I highly recommend you look up a video of Elvis's dance moves because in terms of today's standards, they look really weird, but back then it was all the craze. And so, yeah, Elvis Presley was the king of rock and roll, the best-selling solo artist ever. He was in movies. He did all this crazy stuff. He's in my opinion, one of the greatest artists of all time. I very much encourage you guys to go out and listen to him. I also recommend, like last episode, Bob Dylan. And next, we might be doing another band that I mentioned today. So you guys go and have a great day. Listen to some Elvis and get outside. Woo!